All right, welcome to In a Crisis Family Matters. I'm with my good friend Doug Campbell, the Reverend Doug Campbell. Doug is the leader of the Hope Clinic in Michigan. And Doug and I have known each other for over 30 years, which is kind of scary to say out loud. So the concept behind this podcast, I guess, is really I've been sitting here now quarantined, not really quarantined. I'm really just in self-isolation for about a week, and really struggling with how do I make meaning of this crisis, and what can I do to help. I'm blessed to be healthy right now, and want to do whatever I can to help. And Doug, you and I have known each other for a long time, and I've really always been inspired by the work that you've done over the years and the work that you're doing right now with the Hope Clinic. So can you tell me a little bit about the Hope Clinic and the population that you serve?
Yeah, well, first, Andy, thank you for doing this. You've been so supportive, reaching out, asking how things are going, asking how to help, and very, very grateful for you and so many who are trying to help. So Hope Clinic, we have a really simple mission, is that we partner with you. So businesses, individuals, organizations, churches, we partner with you to make lives better, providing free medical care, free dental care, free food. So that's a pantry, farm stand meals, and what we call care and prayer. So that's everything from social work to counseling, mental health, behavioral health, and serving across Southeast Michigan people who are in need. Last year, we served 40,000 requests for help, and we do this through a network of volunteers. We had over 70,000 volunteer hours. So right now, our staff and volunteers, all these hundreds of medical, dental, food, all these professionals, all kinds of folks have been stepping up to care for those who are in need. And so right now, the most vulnerable among us, our neighbors who are in the greatest need, that safety network is few and far between right now. So we're really kind of at the front line. Our volunteers and staff are stepping up those who don't have that network. So we're increasing the need, the food delivery. We've streamlined things, so we're limiting the number of people who are actually on site to protect the health of our volunteers and staff. And then really just trying to meet immediately the daily changing needs that are happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like this is changing so quickly. What are the changes that you've seen since this really started to gain momentum and steam and impact the U.S.?
The biggest thing we've seen, and it's amazing to think that, yeah, this time last week, we were just talking about making some of these changes. 2 weeks ago, we began the process even of just saying, okay, this is going to be coming, let's start making preparation. The biggest change we've seen is actually kind of a tangible sense of fear amongst people because of job loss. So we've already seen a number of people who are coming to our doors for the very first time because they've lost their job or they're anticipating losing their job. The big three in Detroit, the factories have temporarily shut down. But then the knock-on effect on that of everybody from the parts, tier one automotive, all the others who are impacted by that. People in the hospitality industry are coming. I just had a conversation with a guy who works at a restaurant, and he was saying he didn't have insurance, and he didn't know what he was going to do, and he didn't have family in the area. And he said because of his religion, he couldn't eat meat. And so some of the places he was, the delivery packages had the meat. I said, well, actually, we have a farm stand. We get 2.5 tons of fresh fruit and vegetables delivered every week. And now others are helping to support that. And we have medical folks who can see you right now. He started crying.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I had no idea how I was going to get help. And we're hearing this every day of people who are crying, so grateful that people are still stepping up. Because a lot of folks have had to close. We've heard of a lot of pantries in our area that have had to shut down because they tend to have older volunteers and they shouldn't be in the pantry serving.
Right.
So we totally get it. That's not a criticism. I only say that because we've had to step up. We're now doing it 7 days a week, whereas we used to do it 3 days.
Yeah.
And I'm worried about my staff too, because they're just exhausted.
Well, exhausted and at risk, of course, being in contact with a lot of people. So it's really inspiring that people are willing to give back in that way. So how are you trying to protect both your staff and the people who are coming in?
So this has been my number one concern. I've actually just been praying for wisdom to know what to do, how to do it, what not to do. So we've been taking advice. Keep, thank God we have our just heading out, retiring medical director, and the new one coming in. The one who's retiring, her specialty is infectious diseases.
Wow.
So we're like, thank you. And she's just done a fantastic job of advising us on everything from distancing to proper use of gloves for all volunteer, masks appropriate for some instances, making sure the place was shut down so we have everybody call a number when they come up. Or if there's language barriers, in fact, last night I was on asking people to help translate things so that they can hold up the sign and point to the service they need if English is not their language. But just seeing how to minimize that contact. So we used to have it, you come into our pantry and the client got to pick their food that they wanted. So it was sensitive to culture, religion. We've had to shift all that. Now it's in boxes, but we're putting fresh fruit and vegetables in there, which most pantries don't have the access to that. And then we're still doing meals of this point, but it's all at the door. So we have volunteers who cook the meals, bringing it to the door. They come up, they receive it, which in the past, a big part of our meal program was the fellowship together, but obviously that's had to shift. So it's really just minimizing that contact and making sure everybody is washing their hands for 30 seconds, doing that at the minimum every 30 minutes, and making sure they don't touch their face.
Got it. So have you seen a big increase in people coming to the clinic?
We have. It's been an interesting mix just because we've had to cut, in fact, we did it before the governor and asked us to, but stopped all routine visits in our dental clinic and the medical clinic. But we've seen a real increase in those coming through at the front doors asking for food, but also mental health support, behavioral health support. So on the phone, we're doing a lot of work with folks. The other thing we're doing is helping people to sign up for Medicaid. So if they lose insurance, how to help them get that kind of support, it's a whole bunch of services that we do that's that safety net again, but we're doing that more by phone now, but we have seen an increase, particularly asking for food. And we're anticipating that to increase pretty dramatically when more job losses are coming about.
So, the question that I keep coming back to is how can I help, and how can we help as a community? Because we know that we're all in this together, and that's why I kind of titled this "In a Crisis, Family Matters," because we all need to rally together and help the most vulnerable in our population. So how can we help?
Well, first of all, thanks for asking how you can help, and engaging and encouraging others to do that, because that's not always the case. Or people think, oh, I know what I can do, and they'll bring something that isn't actually helpful at the time. So we're very, very grateful for that. We're asking people to pray, to support, to encourage their neighbors, to reach out to people around them, making sure that the most vulnerable actually have support. And then with us, with Hope, if you're local, if you're healthy, and you can volunteer, we still do need volunteers helping with food prep and all kinds of other, schlepping things back and forth. And then also, if you're local, of food donations, we need more masks. You asked about that. Another conversation we had, because we really still do need masks and gowns. We're okay on gloves right now, but we will need more of these. We'll certainly need more masks later. We put out on Facebook an appeal for hand sanitizer. Obviously, your first choice is washing hands with soap and water, but if you don't have access, hand sanitizer. So we had a teacher who went back into her school, and she's like, they're not going to need it now. So she came with a massive box. And then we just had a partner of ours, Priority Health, just donated 500 little bottles that we can hand out to people.
Right.
For us, what we're asking people to do is to donate financially, just because that allows us the flexibility to get the need on that day, because it is changing. It really is changing almost every day, but it allows us to be able to go buy whatever that food is if it's not donated, when we have access to gowns or whatever that is, helping with other people navigate issues with support in all kinds of other ways. But that kind of gives us that flexibility. So we're grateful for people who can donate and support and find out. We're sending weekly updates as to how that's being spent. Actually, Hope Clinic was rated the #1 charity in the state of Michigan at the beginning of the year, because the money that is given goes directly to the support for people. and we want to make sure that that continues in this time.
Amazing, amazing work. Well, I will be donating $1,000, and I hope that anybody in our network will add to that. And if you have access to masks or gowns or anything,
Absolutely.
please contact the clinic. So there you have it. That's
There it is.
the Hope Clinic, and the information for Doug and their two locations, one in Westland, Michigan, and the other in Ypsilanti. Doug, I hope I can come back to you in a week or so and see how you're doing, see how things are changing, and if the needs have changed.
So grateful for your support. You are a dear friend, and so grateful for the way that you are supporting me personally, but also with Hope. Thank you.
Well, as I said, you always inspired me in kind of what you've been doing in the world and helping people. So we need that more than now than ever. So thanks.